All right, it's the first day of football content being behind the football wall. So here you go. I hope you watched my first and 10 with Degen last night. I went way more in depth on this. This is just going to be kind of a 5 to 10 minute overview of maybe some more in depth things. And I'll give you some guys that I'm playing in my cash lineup if you want to try cash. Although cash last weekend was fucking brutal. There's clearly some pretty sharp sites out there that are sharing stuff. I did way better at GPP than I did at cash, even though I had a really good player pool. It was just the cut score to min cash was so much easier in GPP. So surely that the cash lineups that they put out won't be the nuts every week. That was just crazy. I've been so successful at cash recently, it felt weird to not even fucking sniff it. I mean, like if you had one guy that didn't kill it last week, you weren't cashing. And that's not normally the case with cash. All right, some bets. Bets I've already placed for tonight. And once again, man, I'm not a betting expert. I'm not a professional bettor. I have won over the past year at betting, but I think that's twofold. A, I had a good year, which isn't every single year, and B, I don't care that much about money. Like all the football money I bet, I'm not trying to win or lose on. And when you don't care about it, it's so much easier to win, I swear. If you're making these bets thinking I gotta win this or I don't have money for the season, don't bet, John. Okay. I'm playing I'm playing Central Michigan to cover the 21.5 tonight against Oklahoma State. I actually, I did not end up. I mean, I did bet. I already had this bet in, but it's a low. I actually took Ball State to cover, but it was definitely my smallest bet. I think I just did it to be a degenerate and get some action on every game. I took West Virginia. I got 7.5. I found somebody with 7.5, so I got West Virginia getting 7.5. I got Law Tech. I actually got it at 21. I was really I looked everywhere for a 21.5. I thought about buying a half point, but that shit's pretty stupid, to be honest. So I got Law Tech at 21. I ended up going Purdue, getting the 3.5, and I ended up going Minnesota to cover the 36.5. So those were my 6 bets. Am I promising you they're all going to be winners? No, I don't fucking do that shit. That's just my opinion on who I'm betting tonight, if you want to take that in. Where you should really be trying to gain an edge, in my opinion, is DFS. Because you're not, you're playing a different game. You're not playing Vegas. And if you play Vegas, motherfather, you're going to lose. So here you go. Here, I got it all color-coded. We got ownership up now. No surprise that this slate has some very clear plays on it. But here's the problem. And you're going to have to, there's no obvious punt this week like there was last week, right? There's not that $3,000 running back. I kind of like this Lewis guy, but the more I'm seeing, he might end up not starting after all. So, that's the problem with like some of these schools, they just don't have huge media followings. It's hard to get good, accurate information on who's going to start. I do think he's a high upside guy, but he could literally get you 0 points. That's what high upside guys do. This Law Tech, I just have a sneaky hoping suspicion that Law Tech can push Missouri, and if they do, I think that means Downing and Harris are going to get going. And then I really like Baker's talent there in UCF, but he's also their 3rd or 4th receiver, so maybe he didn't even see the field. So that's what that when I put him in that baby blue, I'm just saying they're a perfect GPP play because they could get you 0 or they could get you fucking 30 points. But what I'm telling you is don't go make them a big part of your player pool, right? I mean, if you're really aggressive, I guess you can. But I'm just telling you, those are ultimate flop, ultimate hit plays, in my opinion, which I guess in college football, almost all of these are kind of fall into that category. All right, the question you really need to decide tonight is which games do you want to stack? I like to stack a big game and then bring it back with a counter correlated stack, right? So maybe I go stack the Law Tech Missouri game, right? I'll run Downings and Cook as my flex or as my quarterback and my super flex. I'll pair them up with Harris and Burden. And then I'm going to hop over here, and then I want to grab Washington and Lewis, right? So I've got a Penn State Purdue run back, right? That's what I'm doing. That's usually how I make most of my lineups. I want them super correlated, and I'm trying to hit the 2 big games that night. If I hit the 2 big games, well, now I have a very good chance of winning. I just got to hope I have the right players in that game, right? That's how I do it. College football is so hard with all these potential blowouts. I mean, Hooker, okay. I'm getting ahead of myself. The other big thing you need to consider is, do blowouts scare you? Okay. If the answer is no, well, then you've got to be playing somebody like Hendon Hooker from Tennessee, right? Only thing you got to worry about with guys like Hooker, who are some other quarterbacks in great blowout positions? Maybe Hayner from Fresno. guys like that. I think those are the two most likely. Oh, and Plumlee from UCF, right? They're all in big blowout potential games, but they also have very high team totals, 50, 47.5, and 50.5, all super high team totals. So if they're efficient, even if they only play 2 or 3 quarters, they still probably have a 25-point floor, right? I don't know if they have a 45-point ceiling, because, it's hard to do that, especially in the second half. If their team's up 5 touchdowns, they're going to be calling off the dogs and not making aggressive play calls, and certainly not running. Hooker gets a lot of his points from running. So that's something to consider. If you're not scared of it, take the guys with the safe totals, the team totals, right? Take your Hookers, take your Plumlees, take guys, not just the quarterbacks from these games, take the running backs, take the wide receivers from Tennessee, UCF, Wake Forest, and Fresno. They all clearly have the biggest team totals, and it's not even close. Minnesota and Oklahoma State both have, and Mizzou all have over 40-point totals, but it's not so clear who's going to get the points for them. I think with Oklahoma State, you'd be pretty safe with Richardson. I think Sanders has a great floor also, just because of his legs. He'll turn the ball over, but what a turnovers really cost. That might actually be a blessing because it'll keep the game competitive longer. So that's something to consider. If you want tight games, if you want games where guys will be pushing the whole time and getting 4 quarters in, you got to look at the Pittsburgh West Virginia game, which is a game I'm pretty much avoiding. I think I'll take Wayne a little bit from Pittsburgh, because even though it says he's cash just means he has a high floor. I just don't really love anybody from West Virginia. I don't like JT Daniels. Mathis is one I will consider, just in case they start running the ball down Pitt's throat. But if I'm stacking a competitive game, I like this Penn State-Purdue game to shoot out a lot more. I think Purdue can move the ball. I don't think Penn State has that nasty defense they've had in the past. And I actually like a lot of – these Penn State guys, these are a lot of highly recruited guys that are coming in at relatively lower ownership, right? Like you can see color-coded here. Only one guy is coming in highly owned for Penn State. So that's something to consider. And then I do think Purdue will push him. Obviously, I think they'll push him. I'm fucking betting Purdue. NIU, to me, this is a blowout, and they don't have a huge team total. I think the obvious play here is just take Brown and move the fuck on from that game. That's what I'll be doing. So not a good game stack. Not even a good game to bring back. Minnesota, not a good game stack or a bring back. ASU, we don't even know what the fuck to expect from them. I think Emory Jones is a great punt at he's 8,400, so I don't know if he's a punt, but he is a great GPP play. Because I'm telling you, the dude has 5-star talent. He's just in a shit show of Arizona State. We don't know who his weapons are. He runs so much, he might be hard to stack. I might throw a Jones-Sanders lineup in there and run it with Valladay and just hope those 3 guys go off. Bring it back with Owen, and if I do that, I can go get a lot of these stud receivers. And I'm not trying to stack this Fresno-Cal Poly game. I will tell you, there are some very clear wide receiver options here. If you want very safe points, Tillman is a tremendous play. He will get his points tonight for Tennessee. O'Keefe from UCF is a great play if you want nice, safe points. Perry from Wake Forest, very safe. These guys, they're just going to get targets, and they're just more talented than the other guys, right? And so because of that, that gives those guys very safe floors. Like you can almost assume they're going to get at least 8 catches, 100 yards, and a touchdown. That just seems that's a low end. So if you can work those guys into your cash lineup, great. And that's what I want to finish talking about. I just made a cash lineup that I felt about. I really like that I got some pieces. If you're going to play cash, I'm telling you, don't give up on it just because of one Saturday. Keep grinding it and trying to figure it out. But I think if you're playing cash, you've got to start start at running back. And at running back, there's really only 4 players I feel like you should consider at there. Richardson is really good. But the problem is when there's no punts for cash, you got to kind of watch your salary, right? So I like Richardson, okay, although I ended up putting Sanders in mine as the quarterback. You think Spencer Sanders is a cash game? For all of you who know your college football, it's kind of gross, but he actually does score well. And at 7,800, if he just gets me 24 points, if you're getting 3x value at cash, you're golden usually, right? The other running back that you have to have at cash is Brown from NIU. He's the closest thing we have to a free square. He might be 90% owned, but you don't want to be in that 10% that don't own him, especially when salary is so tough to come by for cash tonight. And then I think the other one, I kind of like Valladay. I feel like he's going to be the workhorse there for Arizona State, probably in a chaotic offense, but at 6,200, that's not bad at all. Mims is pretty good, but I'm telling you, it's just really hard to fit a $7,900 receiver in there. Like, it's really hard. And And so what I ended up doing is I went with Plumlee and Sanders as my quarterback and my super flex, and I will be the first one to tell you they do not have the ceilings of a Hooker. They do not have the ceiling of a Hainer or somebody like that, right? But I felt like they have safe floors, and what I really liked is I got that ownership or that price discount, right? Sanders and Plumlee both only being in the 7,000s. That money is really well used elsewhere. I like Cook myself. I feel like Missouri's going to have a high team total. And he honestly seems like he has a good safe floor. And by the way, I don't worry too much about stacks and cash. You know what I mean? Like I played a naked Spencer Sander, and I did play O'Keefe to stack with Plumlee, right? But like Sanders, I'm not running him with any other Oklahoma State guys. I'm not. By the way, Nichols is a guy that you could consider for cash, but because he's just going to get such a huge volume. And if Central Michigan is running the ball, he is cash viable. The reason I didn't put him there is I just don't think he can be that efficient against a superior team in Oklahoma State. So that's why I like him more as a GPP play. All right, at receiver, you've got some really safe options, but I would say to make your cash lineups work, if you want Hooker, I would probably stack him with Tillman, right? If you're going to go in cash and get Hooker in your cash, I would assume he's going to probably get some points to Tillman, right? Just like I went O'Keefe, but that was just because I needed to stack him with Plumlee. Once again, you don't have to stack in cash as much. It's not like a rule you have to do. You can play a lot of one-offs in cash because we're just looking for floors. We're not looking for ceilings. Let's see here. Wake Forest, Perry is a great choice to get you points. But once again, all these great receivers that are $8,000, they're really tough to get in here. That's why I looked at Wayne over here from Pittsburgh. He's relatively low with some really nice projections. Tinsley is relatively low. You can see he's high owned, so there's a reason. I think people are on to Tinsley. He's going to be pretty popular. But at that price, if he just gets you 15 points, he's great in cash, right? And then any others, I'm going Valladay at running back. Let's see. I could probably go look up some more things, but everything I've read, Valladay seems to be the guy that's going to start and be the workhorse. But, this is week 0. We're all projecting, you know what I mean? This stuff gets so much easier when we know snaps and when we know injuries and stuff like that as the season unfolds. But that's not where we're at. So we're just going to do the best with what we got. So there you go. I will probably be playing one cash lineup. Oh, and then I ended up, just to make my lineup work, if you want to know, I ended up, what was it, Ball State, I believe? Yeah, I think I ended up getting this Jackson guy in there as my last receiver. I don't love that I'm playing a Ball State receiver in my cash lineup, but fuck, I had to make it work. Brother. And so, I felt like he was one of the safer punts, at least with this, Ball State having a 17-point implied team total. That did make me more interested. And I will definitely be playing some Jackson and some run backs against Tennessee, right? So I guess the last thing I'll say is the games I'll really be attacking, and once again, I could completely whiff on these, but in GPPs, I'll be attacking this Tennessee-Ball State game, hoping Ball State can push Tennessee. I'll be attacking Central Michigan, Oklahoma State, because it has a high implied total, and I think Central Michigan could push Oklahoma State. I will be attacking Law Tech versus Missouri, because I'm hoping Law Tech can push Missouri. If they push Missouri, Missouri players start to have a lot of upside. And probably the last game, I will probably attack less than those first 3, but we'll attack is this Penn State-Purdue game. It doesn't have the highest total, but I do think it'll be a competitive game, and both these teams play up-tempo, so I think there'll be a lot of plays. So there you go. That's basically it. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me today. I appreciate all of you guys moving up to all access. If you have any problems with that, just hit up my boy, the editor. He'll get it fixed. Patreon is a screwy system that we're still trying to learn, but I can assure you there's nobody that will ever that would ever dick you over less in life than me. So if you have any problems, you just let me know, and we'll get everything refunded to you, and you will not be screwed by Patreon, that screwy system. Thanks for watching this, guys. Good luck tonight. Don't forget, I'm probably going to end up doing I think just because it's on the slate, we're going to do Oregon versus Georgia Saturday. So 2:30. I hope you can come hang out for the Saturday stream. Watch football with me. I will have OU and UTEP on the side screen, and we'll be sweating some lineups. It'll be fun, man. I'll talk to you guys later.